What's up, ladies and non-ladies? It is Serial Killer back again, and today we have a two-part video with both halves focused on fodder farming efficiency, and both halves utilizing the new AoE runes released with the Rift Beasts. In particular, we're going to be using enhancement runes, determination runes, and tolerance runes. Now, the first half of this video is going to take place in the scenario, and the second half of this video will take place in the Kairos dungeons. So right now I have my Fuco running fodder in Chiruka Hell. Now he's going to make it through this. This run is not utilizing any of the new runs. The point of this run is to watch how much damage he takes, and we're going to use that as a baseline for seeing how effective the new runs can be used to vastly lower the requirement of either an early game fodder runner or a mid to late game fodder runner when you're trying to push deeper into the scenario, maybe into a map that you're not quite ready to clear yet. Now, first off, I am much happier with the results from this testing than I was from my first test with the fight runes. Really didn't like that too much, at least not from a fodder farming aspect, and these ones are working out great. Not only do they just straight up work better, but it was essentially free to get them all this time. Last time for the fight runes, I spent a ton of resources farming the fight runes out of the Rift Beasts. This time I got them essentially for free. I started noticing a while back that you were getting the new rune sets as rewards from the daily world boss, so I just started collecting them from there. That is why I kind of have this hodgepodge of enhanced determination and tolerance. I'm using whatever the world boss gives me, and I don't actually have a full set yet, but I have most of a full set. Enough to make a very obvious distinction. So first, right now, let's look at what my Fuco's runes are looking like, just so you can get kind of like a baseline of what we're doing Chiruka Hell with. And keep in mind, those stats will get you through Chiruka Hell, but my Fuco does end at like 30% hit points. He gets beat up pretty bad. So I showed you a screenshot right there of what we're going to be adding onto the Fuco using these three fodder right here. We've got one enhancement set giving us 7% extra AoE hit points. We've got 3 determination sets giving us 21% AoE defense. And then we've got 4 tolerance sets giving us 40% AoE resistance. Now that is a coincidence that I have the most of that one, because I got all of these just randomly from the world boss. But in this particular case, that really is what I want, both for the first half of the video with Fuco and the second half of the video with Veromos, and we will get to that later. Keep an eye on the Fuco's life right here. It's not a huge amount of stats that you're adding to him, but the way they add up in this game, it is insane. He gets to, call it 30% pretty regularly when he farms Chiruka Hell without any help. That doesn't really put him in danger of death, because the way Chiruka works, or at least the way Fuco works, is every turn he gets a brand new bubble. So when he's at 30%, he's not really, almost dead. He's still getting a new bubble every turn, and it's just getting slowly chipped away. And by the time he gets that low, you've already killed a few of the monsters in the third wave, and they'll just stop breaking the bubble. Once you knock 1 or 2 of them down, they can't even get through the bubble anymore. But it is a great point of kind of reference, being that normally he'll drop down to about 30%, and you add a pretty sizable amount of resistance and a little bit of defense and a tiny bit of hit points, and he's got well over twice the remaining hit points when you finish. Very nice in both the early game, where you're trying to farm fodder without taking 6.5 years by using like a Ramagos or Arena, and you just don't have the runes, and also very mid to very late game when you just can't farm Chiruka yet, or you can't get into Mount Runer yet. Wherever your barricade is, you can close quite a gap with these defensive runes. Most of the people that I interact with in game don't farm Chiruka yet. They stay in Feynman or Aiden, and a few of them are actually using Ethna now over in Mount Runer. But it's a decent amount of free experience every step up you go in the map, and anything you can do for essentially free to move up is really nice. And at this point, if you're just running the 3 fodder monsters to 430 and then waiting to free rune removal day, you can remove the runes for free. Generally what I've been doing is just paying the 50 or 60,000 mana to swap the runes out, and I'll run a couple sets of monsters through from 1 star to 430 with the same set of runes. Now this right here is part 2 of the video, and this is utilizing the runes in Kairos dungeons. Now I don't actually have any runes on this set right here. This is like the first run with Fuco, where this is going to be kind of our baseline, and my Panda, Emma, and Veromos will 3-man Dragon's 10 every time, 100%, 0 fail, and they will do it in about 5 minutes. Best case scenario, Veromos doesn't die, and it takes 4 and change minutes for the 3 of these guys to plug their way through. Worst case scenario, Veromos dies on Zyros, and Panda and Emma will finish it off regardless of what happens to Emma. When Veromos dies on Zyros, sometimes Emma survives the whole thing, sometimes Emma dies either usually from the tower, or at the very end after the dragon enrages. Fire Panda will finish it off without Emma, no problem. I was actually really surprised to see how well he does in here. Now this whole kind of D10 fodder leveling experience is not fast experience. You're only getting 700 a run, or either 700 or 800 a run without an XP pack, but it's essentially free experience. I'm a free-to-play player, so I don't have a whole lot of red gems, so if I just blasted through dragons, I would just run out of gems and then not be able to play anymore anyway. So by slowing my runs down and bringing to fodder, I'm leveling monsters for free while I'm farming dragons for runs. Now I actually got this idea from someone was talking about it on Reddit. Were referencing another person that does it with just their Emma and Veromos. They 2-man their Dragon's 10. In their runs, they kill the left tower, then the right tower, and then the boss. When I run it with just my Veromos and my Emma, Emma can survive killing a tower and getting a retaliate. Veromos cannot survive that. So if Veromos happens to kill the left tower and dies, then the run is a wipe. If Emma kills the left tower, or if it dies to dots, everything's okay. And then if Veromos kills the right tower, he will die. Emma will finish the run, but it literally is a 17-minute run. Totally not worth it for me at that point. So I kind of sidelined that, moved on to the 3-man team. I found if I stuck Panda in as a leader skill, Veromos will survive most of the retaliates if he kills a tower, and if he doesn't survive, Panda and Emma will finish it also, and with Panda's armor break, the runs are still under 6 minutes, so it's totally acceptable at that point. Once I realized that the defensive runes were dropping from the world boss and I started collecting them, the plan was to get a full set, run them on 3 fodder, and then go back to trying the Veromos Emma 2-man dragons run. So that is what we are looking at now, and I'm very pleased to say that it is going quite well. I still think my Veromos should be a little bit tankier. If he's not relatively high, I could see him dying from a tower. This is the 2-man is really new, so I don't know if it's going to be 100% or whatever 96, but it looks relatively safe. The 3-man panda run, the 3-man dragon run with panda that you were watching, that is 100% safe. I've been running it for weeks now. I don't know if it's 4 weeks or 7 weeks or whatever, but they have not failed a single run. It is beautiful. This one, I'll let you guys know if it stays 100%. The one thing I have going in my favor is I will probably be removing both my Veromos and my Emma from my arena defense, which is going to let me take the will runes off my Veromos and get him a ton of speed back. And it's going to let me take the Nemesis runes off my Emma and put her back on Violent. I think those two things alone are going to help the run quite a bit. I'm actually interested to see how the two of them do after free rune removal day this weekend without the extra defensive runes. I don't know that I'm going to be able to clear the gap all the way, but I think they'll do a lot better, and I have no problem running the fodder runes like this. It is super worthwhile. Even if you're paying to remove the runes, you're only paying 60 to 100,000 at the most mana to remove a full set, because you're specifically aiming for crappy 2, 3, 4-star runes. You're not, looking for 5 and 6-star runes that cost 25 or 50,000 mana a piece. Ideally, you're getting some 3-star junk that takes, I think, 5,000 mana to remove a 3-star rune. So that's what I'm aiming for. I've literally gotten, a 5-star rune, but I'll put it on to complete the tolerance set, and then a week later, a 3-star rune drops in place, and I've already have a few for that slot, and I just erase the 5-star, throw it away, put a 3-star in its place. That way it's cheaper to swap the runes around mid-month if I want to. I'm curious to see what kind of time these guys are going to get, because that's another factor. The Emma and Veromos only runs, when they were successful, were well into the high 6s, and Panda Veromos Emma is pretty low 4-minute run when everything goes smoothly, and then like a mid 5-minute run if Veromos dies on Zyros and the other two have to finish it off. So we will see the tally on this relatively soon. Ooh, and speaking of, I need to change the towers back to left-right. Actually, you know what? Screw the left tower. Earlier, when I was running the 2-man, I was killing the left tower, then the right tower, then the boss. I want to see what they do if it's just the right tower and then the boss. Originally, when I was trying the 2-man Dragon's 10, I was killing the left tower and then the right tower and then the dragon. But the dots that the left tower puts up really aren't the problem. The only problem is Veromos is not Omega tanky, and he can die to a tower revenge. So I think leaving the left tower alone just, cuts the chance that Veromos gets himself killed in half, which is great, because then that cuts the chance in having to watch Emma do it in a 17-minute run also in half. Now, something else that would increase the success rate of this is getting a few of the AoE accuracy runes, which get some better dot application from Veromos, and the more dots I can put on the towers, the less likely the towers are to die from an actual physical hit, which means it's less likely for Veromos to die to a revenge. But oddly enough, I don't have a single complete AoE accuracy set yet from the world boss. I do have one rune, so I do know they do drop. I don't know if they drop less, or more likely it's probably just some weird RNG that I don't have a set yet. But once I do, I will probably stick a couple of those in place of something and see if getting more dots up on the towers works as a way to increase the safety of the run just by lowering the chance of Veromos dying to a revenge. I think that would be quite a worthy investment in stats. Plus you get a little extra. You get 10% AoE accuracy per set, just like the resistance ones. both my Emma and my Veromos might have changed since the last time you guys seen them, rune-wise. And then I've got like a really weird set on my Fire Panda right now because Zinc is borrowing Fire Panda's real runes. So after this run, I'll go ahead and show you the 3 runes that those guys are using as well. 5.5 minutes, not bad at all. I love that. Free fodder. Now I happen to be inside an XP pack right now because Comtuous is giving us 40 million of them with the last event that's over and the dice event that we got going on right now. I just don't have the red gems to burn them up in scenario, or at least I don't want to. I want runes more, so I'll be getting double experience in my dragon's fodder farming for a little bit. And again, I want to reiterate, obviously it's slower to level fodder in Dragon's 10 than Chiruka Hell or Fame in Hell, wherever you're leveling it in the scenario, but it essentially costs 0 energy to do so. You're getting effectively unlimited experience per energy. You're not spending the energy to level fodder, you're spending the energy to kill a dragon and try to get a sweet violent rune. You happen to be leveling 3 fodder or 2 fodder or 1 fodder even for free. And like I said, I've fused multiple JoJos by leveling the 4 guys you have to turn into a JoJo all the way to 430 inside of Dragon's 10. I love it. The game is essentially just handing me JoJos to feed my new Lucian, which is beautiful mode. On that note, I've actually been using my Lucian a little bit the last few days. When I showed you the runes right there, I glossed over my new Bastet and the Samanth. I don't know how to pronounce that, but the Water Fairy King. I got both of those almost back to back within the last 2 weeks. Neither of which came from the Transcendent Scroll thing. I got one from a Necro run. I forget where the other one came from. I think actually it might have been Stones, but I got them both for free very recently. Very, very excited about Bastet. Slightly less excited about Samanth, but the 2 of them together with Lucian and Bernard is super, super great. I've been recording some arena with that, so I will hopefully be around to record this week's Arena Rush Hour for you guys as well. Alright guys, that's about it for today. Hopefully this inspired some of you to start saving those new runes from the world boss, maybe make some use out of them with your fodder. As always, thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please take the time to like and subscribe. See you next time.